Hello, my name is Shah. Welcome to the yoga mat. I love yoga. And sometimes I forget that. But it doesn't take very long before I start to feel weird and life feels like something's not right. My energy's low, I'm not thinking clearly, I'm feeling a lack of confidence, or my intuition doesn't feel as strong, or anything like that. And I'm like, well, have you been practicing yoga? No, I took a few days off. So you come back, and I get into it doesn't take much, it takes like a child's pose or a downward dog, and instantly I'm like, oh my God, I love this. How did I forget that I love this? This is so good. And it feels like coming home to a home that you really love coming home to. And it's not actually the yoga mat that's the home, it's your body. So whether or not you use a mat, you come into the yoga poses, which are just body shapes, and you're holding these shapes with your body, and what happens while you're holding them is the yoga. The pose itself is not yoga. It's what happens while you're holding the pose. What happens? What happens is you feel things. You feel sensations. Muscles get pulled tight and bones pop and something tingles, and then you start to sweat or burn, and you feel the sweat dripping down your face, and then the wind blows, and then your hair gets in your eyes, and then you start to shake. And then as these different physical sensations start happening, then the thoughts start happening. I like this, I don't like this. How long am I holding this for? Can I get out? I'm just gonna get out. I've done enough. Maybe this is enough for today. I'm gonna stop. No, keep going. This is good, it's worth it. Oh, I'm so glad I'm doing this. Why didn't I think about doing this earlier? Well, I wasn't doing it earlier because XYZ, and now I'm glad and I want to do this every day, but maybe I can't do it every day. Like, whoa, on the thoughts. Any direction. It's like a domino effect in the world of thoughts. You have one thought, and then the whole train just chugga choo-choos off into any direction, perpetually. So you have physical sensations, which then lead to thoughts. The thoughts can also influence your physical body. So as you're thinking, I like this, or I don't like this, then your experience of being in that pose starts to change. If you're thinking, I don't like this, I want it to end, you're probably suffering, and the pose feels more intense and more challenging and harder and more uncomfortable. Whereas if you start to think, I'm so grateful that I can be in this pose. I'm so grateful that my body is cooperating, and I'm just so grateful that I can feel. I'm like so blessed that I have the time and the space and the health to be able to practice. And actually, stretching, it's intense, but it feels good. I know that it's kind of like a good kind of pain, or this is helping me. And you start thinking thoughts like that, and then you start to luxuriate and savor the pose more. And you're like, ooh, actually, I really like this. And so these are like, liking and disliking. You're attracted to something and attached to it, or you're averse to it, and you're going towards it or you're going away. Either way, all of this is happening while you're in the pose. And eventually, we get to a place where you're like, you know what, I'm tired of all the thinking. Good or bad, nice or dark or light or whatever, I don't care. I don't want to think anymore. I feel like I'm trapped in this cage of thoughts constantly. I want to break. And when you get to that moment where you're like, I just want some peace. I just want some open space. Then you turn your attention to your breath. And you watch the breath come in the body, and you watch the breath leave the body. And while you are so focused on your breath, whatever the sensations were in the physical body, or whatever the thoughts were in the mind, whatever emotions were rolling through, those all kind of either lessen or fade into the background or just disappear completely. Or you become so aware of them and so close that you actually become one with them. Any of those it's a shift in the pattern. So you're liberating yourself from being trapped in the cycle that you were in, and now you're doing something new. Now you are stepping into not only your body, but you're stepping into the present moment, where there's all of this open space, and all those sensations and thoughts and feelings, they come and go and they roll through and they're transient, but you are eternal. You're sitting there just being. You're just being in that yoga pose. The pose is just the spot where you hang out to watch existence exist. And then you change to another shape and see how that different shape triggers a whole bunch of different thoughts and emotions until you get sick of those, or you be at peace with those and you just let them be. And then you're just being. And you're comfortable and you're at ease. No matter which shape you put your body in, you know how to find peace and be at ease. Which is actually the definition of the word asana, which is A-S-A-N-A, asana. It's a Sanskrit word, and you'll see it, it's at the end of all the different yoga poses, the names. Like right now I'm sitting in Sukhasana. Sukha means sweet or easy, and asana, loosely we say it means yoga pose, but actually what it means is an easy seat. So right now I'm sitting in a sweet, easy seat, Sukhasana. But if I were to change and sit like this, then I would be in Virasana. Vira meaning warrior, or hero, not warrior. Vira is hero. And asana is an easy seat. So I'm in the easy seat of the hero. The point I'm making here is that any yoga pose you do, any shape that you put your body in, is just the seat that you're sitting in easily. It's like a comfy couch. It's a comfy chair. It's your favorite chair. You can put me in any shape. I can be in Balasana. Bala is child, so the pose of the child, or the easy seat of the child. It's easy for me to just sit in this shape and be. Or I could put myself in the shape of the camel, Ustrasana. We call this camel. I'm just going to sit here and be a camel. Be at one with the energy of the camel. Ustrasana. And now we're back in the body. And it's easy to be there. It's easy to be in any of these poses, just like it's easy to be at home. But you're telling me, like, but it's not easy to be in that pose. Well, you haven't made it your home. That's the journey. The yogi does not arrive at the mat on day one and love every single pose or feel at ease, and it's a journey. So there are certain asanas that you do right away that do feel easy. So you can enjoy those. And there are others, of course, that will feel difficult. And as the journey goes on, as the years go on, the poses, the different asanas, one by one, become easy for you. And then you advance them and you advance them, and you're entertaining yourself, and you're using the poses to explore your inner world and expand your spirituality, and see if you can constantly be on that limit of how much more can I expand? How much more can I relax now that I'm in this expanded space? And I'm in a new space and it's challenging me in a new way. Can I relax there too? Can I find ease? Literally, as my comfort zone expands, can I keep finding ease, more and more and more ease, so that I don't have this situation where my comfort zone is really tiny. Like, oh, I'm only comfortable on the couch, but if you make me stretch, then I'm gonna get real uncomfortable. No. We stretch, and now it's comfortable for you to sit on the floor, and then it's comfortable for you to bend in any direction, and then it's comfortable for you to stand and twist and jump, and like, you expand the comfort zone that you're in your body, so that no matter where your body is on the planet, no matter which position we place it in, you can find a sense of home. Even if there is discomfort, you can still become so comfortable with being uncomfortable that you know how to find a sense of home in the intensity of the physical posture. And when you begin this yoga journey, it's all about the poses, because it's like a full schedule of homework for you to just learn the poses. And as the years go by, your work becomes more and more and more subtle. So after decades, now we don't actually need tons of crazy big fancy poses. We don't need to up the intensity of every pose, because what actually becomes your new frontier is the subtle energies. So you can sit me here now in Sukhasana, and I could entertain myself or do a full yoga practice that's working with my limits, and you wouldn't even see me move on the outside, because now I'm playing with the way that the energy is flowing through my body, and the alignment of my skeleton, and how much relaxation I can bring into the tissues and the bones and the cells. So it becomes more cellular and more subtle. In the beginning, it's gross, not gross, icky, but like gross, like material. In the beginning, your homework is, can you just do this pose? And when you get a huge wave of like, oh my God, this is so intense, can you ride it? And eventually, can you find ease? And now that you find ease in any posture that I put you in, can you go inside to a deeper and deeper and deeper level until you're feeling the subtle energies inside the cells of your body? And now that's why we don't need to do such crazy poses. The more advanced you get, actually, the more simple the physical body posture becomes, because your practice is now so inward, you're exploring within the microcosm. And it's within there that you encounter your parts. And this whole journey that you've been on has been all about cultivating your ability to tap into self energy, so that on demand almost, you can just be full of embodied self energy. And from that space of self energy, you can then love and care and nurture your parts. I'm talking about the parts of your psyche, the parts of your spirit, the more subtle aspects of who you are. The parts of you are the ones that are doing all of the talking and the reacting in the beginning. When I put you in a yoga pose and then you start thinking things and feeling things, and I want to get away, and I hate this, why am I doing this, blah, blah, blah. Those are your parts talking. So the journey of the yogi is that over time, we learn how to help the parts settle and be quiet and still, so you can create a sense of peace and safety. And then, with a little bit more order and harmony, you can listen to these parts of you and learn more about really how they're trying to help you. So that part of you that's like, I hate yoga, why am I doing this? At first, it's so loud in your head, it makes you just want to get off the mat. But later, it becomes more interesting. Like why do you hate yoga? How are you trying to help me? You're trying to get me out of a discomfort. Where else in my life do you do this? How are you actually creating avoidance in my entire life? It's not just on the yoga mat. And you start talking to this part, and you're like, well, maybe there's another way we could approach life. And you actually build relationship with these parts of yourself. But you need to be in a place where you're safe enough, you feel at home enough to to actually comfort these parts and build trust with them. So that's why the yoga mat and your body, it becomes home, because it's where you go, not only to take care of your physicality, like you need to have your muscles and your joints and everything limber, so that you limber and strong, so that you can function in the world. You're not going to fall over and break a hip. Like you need that's something about the yoga poses that keeps you functional physically. And then the yoga practice, bringing the unity between the breath and the mind and the body and the movement, and everything comes in to create this calm space from which you love yourself. And then this is how you take care of your emotions and how you take care of your mind and your inner well-being. So self-love and self-care within, it's not about adding layers. It's not about putting on more face cream. It's not about positive affirmations. It's not just like feeding yourself inspirational quotes and books and like putting more and more and more in your head. It's actually about clearing, removing, making space, emptying out so that you can sit there in the vastness and be the unconditional love that these different parts of you need and long for, and provide the inner connection between self and part, and the connection between parts and parts and parts and parts, so that you then can sit with other human beings and yourself can connect with their self. And that is the sweetest experience on earth, to sit in the presence of another self. We interact with parts all the time. Everybody's parts all the time, all around us. More rare and more precious when we sit in the company of self. Self to self. Self with self. That's a real coming home feeling as well. Like there you are. I was feeling very alone for a while. I was with all of my parts, but wondering, is there any other person out there that has some self that I could hang out with? Self feels good. So you want more self energy for yourself, for your own parts, to bring to other people, to be able to commune and help other people. And we need to do things with our physical body, like yoga, to actually access self through the body. Make space in the body. Like if you're tense and you're slouched, you're crunching, there's no space, you're all tight. So we literally do all this yoga to create space so that the feeling of clarity and calmness and like open curiosity of self energy can come back into the body. And that's the healing energy. So that's why it feels so good. When I've taken a little bit of time away from yoga, I notice all my parts coming in and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going crazy, because there's so many parts constantly taking over my mind. And I haven't done something like yoga to clear the space so that I can actually nurture my parts rather than being taken over by them. And it's just this like, it's kind of like if you're babysitting for someone and the kids are running wild and you're just checking the time and you're like, when are the parents getting home already? Like the kids are driving me crazy. And then finally you hear the door open and the parents come in and you're like, thank God. Thanks for the money. I'm gonna leave now and run away. It was kind of like that, like a weekend. For me, my weekend was very indulgent and relaxed. I let all my little kid parts come out and play. I played video games. I ate snacks. I laid on the bed. I was like crying on the floor because I didn't get what I wanted. And I was like, okay, enough. And then I came to my yoga mat this morning and I got into downward dog and it's like mom came home. I was just like, oh, finally, back in my body. Peace. Okay, namaste. Please ask me any questions or leave any comments below.